Melissa.
And I'm Mike.
Welcome back to the
Oh,
A&M podcast.
so
Do you want to announce it?
today,
Oh, okay.
today I think we're going to talk about what Alyssa keeps referring to as the honesty system. I just uh, I just refer to as being honest, I guess,
Not
and
everyone is honest.
and the difference in I guess
The evolution
yes the
of just honesty. We also have Ollie here today.
yeah
So if you hear an
and
adorable little voice,
he
that's what
may
it
come
is.
in and visit us at some point. We'll see.
Yeah, there's no stopping him.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, no, I think it's more of the evolution in honesty honesty as a
Yeah.
whole.
And you're also talking about kind of like the honor system.
Honor system.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
That's a little, yeah, but
The
the
honor
honor system
system.
is all about honesty.
Exactly. So,
So and I think it was a good example. The example you used was how you used to go to the gas station and you'd pump gas in your car and then you'd go inside and you'd pay.
which is crazy. Because
Yeah.
you could have essentially, like, just drove off, right?
Yeah.
Like, I could have just filled up my gas tank and then drove off.
Right.
But I think back then, well, I guess I was going to say gas was probably cheaper then. So it was also less of a loss for the. Like, now, if I go to the gas station to fill up the tank from E, it's literally like $65.
Yeah. And I think
That's a big loss for the
I
gas station.
well, it's a bigger loss for the gas station, but it's also like when it was more reasonable for people, people would be less likely to try to steal too, I think,
Oh, true. Because it
Because I
wasn't as much of a like expense on
yeah.
your budget.
Yeah, but it is it is kind of crazy to think about that like, there was a time where that was the norm
Yeah.
sometimes you'd maybe go in the only time I remember going is if like I wanted to put $20 of gas in my car. So I'd go in, I'd give them a 20, I'd say set the tank for 20, they'd set it for 20 and then,
Hmm.
you'd be good to go. But like generally if you were filling your tank, it was like, well, I'm going to fill it. I'm going to go in and tell them, I was on pump whatever, and then they charge you whatever it costs. But yeah, the trust was broken at some point. I wonder though too, is it a matter of the trust was broken or it was just the technology, being able to do the pay at the pump that way, they don't have to worry about people, um, you know, like a long line at the registers, inside
Probably
the
a
little
little bit of
market.
both,
Yeah.
I think. I think it was probably a little bit of um, people being less. I think it was more as gas prices started to rise
Right.
that people were starting to be less honest, but also, yeah, just the technology
Yeah.
improving.
Yeah.
Maybe people wanting to just. I think it was probably more the technology improving in terms of the credit card system. So more
Right.
people were getting credit cards and um yeah, it was just easier to make it where if you're using your credit card, just pay at the pump. You don't have to come inside and pay.
Yeah. And
But still,
it,
what a wild time.
yeah. But it's funny because I think that the whole idea of like the honor system has extended itself a little bit too because we were talking to some friends yesterday about like how it used to be if you had to go to the hospital to have a procedure or something like that, or even just for like a visit,
Hmm.
that like you'd go, you'd see the doctor, you'd pay when you were leaving whatever you owed, or if it was something where you were going to the hospital would bill your insurance, and then they'd find out what the difference was and they'd bill you for that later, and you'd
Hmm.
get a bill in the mail. And we were talking about how now like most doctors offices want you to pay before you ever go to the office, or
Oh,
for
really?
or like if you're having some sort of surgery or something like that,
Hmm.
they want whatever your portion of it is going to be. Like they'll tell you weeks in advance
Probably
that,
because.
hey, we're your deductible or whatever, your portion is going to be $2,000.
Hmm.
So how did you want to take care of that? Yeah,
What?
and that I feel like that's kind of the same thing. It's like
Hmm.
they've probably had so many people that have
Couldn't
like
afford it.
stiffed them on
Yeah.
whatever, or people honestly too who maybe didn't know how much it was going to be, you know,
Mhm.
um, and so then they got the bill, 2 weeks or a month or whatever after they had their procedure, and they were like, I didn't know I was going to have to pay, $3,000
Mhm.
and then just stiff the hospital. So
Like, hey, I already got what I needed from this
yeah, my spleen's
situation. Like,
gone. So
yeah, yeah. Like, okay, well that
yeah,
$3,000, that's none of my business.
yeah,
Straight
yeah,
to the trash.
yeah. Yeah, but and that brings, and this is kind of off topic, but that's our norm. It kind of brings me to something that your mom and I talk about a lot, how
Mhm.
I don't understand how it is that back when, like, before we had you guys, or even, while your mom and I were like having you guys,
Mhm.
health insurance was so much different than it is today, because
Mhm.
generally if you had, a decent job, you got health insurance through your employer. It was 100% paid by your employer. There was no line on my pay stub that was my part of my health insurance,
Yeah.
and it covered like just about everything. Like you went to the doctor, it was covered. You went for a checkup or whatever, it was covered.
Or the
I
copay was like
No, I mean
nothing, or yeah,
copays didn't. That's what I'm saying. Is back then there weren't even copays.
crazy.
And yeah, because you had health insurance, so that if you had to, when you had to go to the doctor, you didn't have to worry about the cost. That was like the point of it. And it's amazing to me how it's evolved. Because like I can remember the time in my life slash career when the first job I had where they said, oh well, this year we're gonna have to ask you guys to start like chipping in for part of your health insurance cost, and
Mhm.
that, and I can remember when all of a sudden, like, co-pays and deductibles started coming in, and it just, I don't know how that industry made money. Like, what model was everything operating under back then, that they were still
Mhm.
making money because they were still in business, but it was 100% paid by the employers, and you know, and you didn't have, like, you really got bills for almost nothing,
I think it's
after
just
the
the
fact.
rising cost of just
Everything.
everything in
Yeah.
general, like everything in the health field.
Yeah.
They're raising the prices
I
of medications and everything
Yeah.
like that anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah,
those
I guess.
insurance companies,
Like,
they
I'd really love to talk to somebody who's got like knowledge of that industry to understand it, because
I
it's so, because like, yeah, that cost has gone up, but so has the cost of everything. So you think, if the cost of everything goes up equally, everything should still stay the same. In other words, like, if the cost of that stuff's going up, but then, well, my employer's raising the cost of their product because their costs are going up. So the cost of whatever product that or ever they're selling to, their costs are going. Stores. Let's say if you work for a company that makes like retail type products,
mhm.
you know, it just doesn't make sense to me that, like, that portion of the industry, unless it's been a situation of like consolidation of companies. So there's not as many like health insurance companies. There's not as many.
Mhm.
You look where we live, and there's a lot of consolidation in like the doctors. You've got Orlando Health, and you've got Advent, um, and if because they're these giant conglomerates now, that there's such a focus on like profits and increasing profits year over year, that's the only way they can do it.
I had a job. Um, it was one of my like last most more recent jobs, and they obviously I got health insurance with them, but they had a health insurance plan that was technically like free, but it was like it was basically just to say you have health insurance, because then you
Right.
looked at the copays on it and and the deductibles on it, and it was like you barely had health insurance.
Yeah.
You just barely had it. It wasn't, but at the same time, I guess health insurance is better than no health insurance,
Right.
but
Yeah, I mean, especially, the younger you are, the less you care about health insurance too. Like when I
right.
was first working, it was like something that was there, and I never used it because I didn't go to the doctor. Because
Mhm.
when you're younger, you don't do those kind of things.
Yeah.
But but there was something else that I was thinking about in the whole idea of the
Especially
honor system.
considering like, you know, vision insurance.
Hmm.
Even if I get vision insurance on my own, always super cheap.
Yeah,
Dental insurance, and those are things that I feel like dental and vision, like those are always the two
you
that you
use
should do
those
those
more.
like yearly. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Like
use
it's
those
usually
more than
covered. I have a teeth cleaning covered once a year, and I have a vision checkup covered
right,
once a year.
right,
So, but those are the two insurances that are always super cheap anyways.
right,
Medical, I feel like, you know, yeah, you might go for your checkups and stuff,
right.
but
Yeah,
even
if you're a generally healthy person and you're a younger person who's not worried about going for like an annual physical and that.
which are usually 100% covered on health
Yeah,
insurance
yeah,
anyways.
exactly, exactly.
But when that's like kind of it, when I don't know. I've always felt a kind of way about insurance, even car insurance. Like I'm paying so much of this money, and
Yeah,
I know that that's what insurance is for. This is
right,
just like a Alyssa rant,
right.
but I pay so much money towards this. I feel like insurance is low key a scam. I'm just gonna say it.
Oh, it is. It's a pyramid scheme.
Like
Uh, uh, uh,
think of how
Car
much you pay in
insurance,
car
especially
insurance.
car
Yeah.
insurance, if you want to go on that topic, is
Mhm.
completely a pyramid scheme because,
Yeah.
or a Ponzi scheme, I guess, is a better way to put it, because you and homeowners insurance is kind of getting that way too. You
Mhm.
pay for that, you know, every year, and
Monthly. So
yeah,
much money a
yeah,
month
yeah,
for car insurance. Car insurance isn't like it used to be. Like car insurance, they can get up to a couple $100 a month,
yeah,
and you're paying that month in and month out for what?
yeah.
If in case I get in an accident, and even if I get in an accident, unless I have gap insurance as well on my car, it's not even really going to cover that much of my car.
Well,
I
so
think car
so the
insurance
the
should
the
cover
thing about car insurance is the main reason you have car insurance
is if something
is
happens.
if like you know you hit somebody else or somebody else hits you
Right.
to cover you from like a liability standpoint. Because let's say you don't have car insurance, which I think like there's a way you can have a car and not have car insurance, but you have to have some kind. I don't
Yeah, if
know.
you get a
I
rental
don't even want
car.
to suggest it because I'm not. Yeah,
If you
I'm
get a
not 100%.
rental.
But if you
No,
don't
Dad, let
have
the
car
people know your
insurance,
hack.
yeah, if if you have if you don't have car insurance and you're driving a car and you get in an accident, let's
Yeah,
say it's your fault.
right.
Um, if that person sues you, they sue you.
Right.
If you have car insurance, when you get sued, your car insurance is there to cover you getting sued.
Sure.
So, in the circumstance where you don't have car insurance, you get in an accident, it's your fault, you get sued, they win, like they could I believe they could like take your house. Like they can go after your assets
Yeah.
and take, whatever they can get.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and but the
True.
thing that, and I've heard of this more recently with homeowners insurance, I think, than car insurance, where people in certain states that are considered like high risk now, and Florida is one of those states because of hurricanes.
Oh, okay.
Um, People have paid for or homeowners insurance rather for
Mhm.
years and years and years,
Yeah.
and let's say you've paid for years and years and you never had a claim, and now that insurance company is going, you know what, the state of Florida is too high risk, or the area you live in even is too high risk because you're near water, so you're in a
Mhm.
floodplain, and we can't take that risk anymore, so
Mhm.
we are dropping you from that insurance. So all that money you paid to that insurance company for years was literally just profit for them. It was
Yep.
literally just money in the bank for them if
Mhm.
you never had a claim like that. And I think that should be illegal. I think
Yeah.
if I have an insurance company for 10 years
Mhm.
and I don't have a claim and they say we need to drop you because we've decided it's too high risk, they should have to pay me some large portion of the money that I paid to them back.
I think that's how it should be with any insurance, to
Yeah.
be honest. I think that's how it should be even for car insurance.
Yeah.
If I'm paying a certain amount a month for my car insurance, it should almost be like a tax return. I feel like if I go the whole year, because let's be honest, like that is all car insurance covers, is if you get in an accident, really.
Right.
It should, if anything, also cover like I get a discount on if I need if I need new tires, or if I need an oil change or
Yeah, I mean
something. Cover more for
they
me.
have coverage like that that
And
you
but
can
you
get
got to
for
pay
repair
more.
coverage, but
Now I'm paying more every month.
it's different than car insurance. It's a different type of
It's like
insurance.
with the dealership a lot of times.
Yeah,
But
yeah, they sell those a lot of times with, especially with used cars. They sell those kind
mhm.
of plans.
But not with my monthly car insurance. And I think
Right.
if I'm paying that amount a month every single month for my car insurance, and I get to the end of my, year end or 6 month policy, whatever they do, um, and I don't have any claims, you should have to at least give a percentage of
Yeah.
that money back to me,
Yep.
like a tax return.
Yep.
To just me get to the end of my year and I have nothing that happened. I have, especially even if you want to go even further, like no tickets, no
Right.
nothing, you should have to give
Yeah, I mean,
me some of that money
at least
back.
like something like 5 years. You know, if you went like 5 years, it should be like, okay, here's a portion of that money back. Here's the
But some
problem.
people don't stay with
He-
insurance that long
That's true.
because they
That's what I
don't they
was
don't
gonna
give you any
say.
forgiveness of
Right.
switching after a year or two.
Right. To whatever's cheapest.
Mhm.
And the other part of that too is, well, you might not have had an accident, but guess what? Somebody else did. And let's say they're paying $1,000 a year in
Uh-huh.
insurance, and they've been with them 2 years, so they've paid $2,000 into them, and they get into an accident, and it costs 15,000 between the car repair, the medical bills, and all that.
Mhm.
Then if it worked that way, where they gave you it back because you didn't have an accident for 3 years, they'd be basically
Yeah.
they'd be in the hole.
So you want to talk about honesty? I don't think insurance companies are very honest.
No, that's true. That's true. I think there's a lot of shady practices that go on.
Like, let me just open an insurance company and I can just keep racking it in. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'll have your back if something happens.
yeah,
No
yeah.
wonder people are
Right.
going out there and purposely like setting up car accidents. I don't know if I can
Yeah.
actually say that, but
No, there
people,
was.
it's like a scam that people are
Yeah.
going out there. They're telling like a friend of theirs or whatever, like, hey, I'm gonna back up into you, and then we'll like, get some money
Well,
out of this.
I don't know. I don't know how that would help. That would be, you'd be a bad friend if you did that, because
I have an
the
older car.
assumption
We're
is,
gonna.
yeah, but the assumption always is the person that hit the other, like if you, in rear end accidents, and this isn't 100% of the time, but in rear end
Mhm.
accidents, it's almost always the person
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
was, the back car, that's the one that's. But I saw a video on Instagram or Twitter of somebody, and they had a dash cam. The one thing said it was a Tesla, but I think Jay had said it didn't look like a Tesla,
Yeah.
but they had a dash cam, and this person pulls in the lane in front of them. They were in like the furthest left lane. Pulls in the lane in front of them, stops, and the guy stops his car then, because he stopped in front of him, and then the guy backs up into him, and then they get out of the car. The people get out of the car, and um, I think that their intention was to say that he rear-ended them, not realizing that the guy had a dash cam, so he caught the whole thing. But that was
Crazy.
their intention. There was another one I saw a while ago where it was like a guy on a motorcycle or a kid on a bike or something, and he threw himself on the hood of this car, and then he lays down on the road like a moving car. He threw himself on the hood, and then he
What?
lays down on the road, and the lady gets out of the car and points to her car, showing that she has a dash cam, and he gets up and runs because he was trying to
Get
do
it?
something that he
Yeah.
could sue, and that's, I mean,
Crazy.
that's a much different topic, but I guess that's kind of part of the honor system, is this whole thing about, uh, you know, what's the term?
I
Darn it!
mean, it's no different than like people that I've gotten in accidents with
Right?
who have tried to, sue afterwards because they know
Yeah.
they can't because it's Florida and like every other commercial you see on TV is
Yeah.
about insurance companies trying to help you sue the person that you got in an accident with and like how
Right.
you can make $1 million off of it. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
But that's too. I mean, that's an honor system thing to me, because I feel that there's a lot of those, and I don't know people's circumstances, so I'm not, maybe shouldn't judge, or shouldn't. But I think there's a lot of those circumstances, especially down here because I think our legislature needs to do something to fix
You know
like
how
that
easy
whole
it is.
thing.
There's one of the commercials where the guy's literally saying like, I didn't ever have to go into their office or anything, and
Yeah,
I just got payment sent right to my bank account. Like,
yeah,
shoot, I'm
yeah.
looking at that like, oh, that sounds real easy.
The one to me is there's one where the lady says she she was going into a pizza place, and the next thing she knows, she was on the ground. That's exactly what it says. I'm walking into a pizza place, and the next thing I know, I'm on the ground, right? And the lady on the commercial says, "They got me everything I deserved and then some."
Yeah.
And I'm like, the and then some is wrong
Uh
because
huh.
everything you deserved is everything you should get.
Yeah.
The and then some means, and then she says
Maybe she's
it
talking
was a
about like
significant
dinner.
amount. It was life changing,
Oh yeah.
and I mean, there's a lot of people, and I don't know again this woman's circumstance, so I'm not saying this is what happened there, but there's a lot of people that go into places like that and stores and that kind of thing, and they'll purposely fake that they slipped. And we have a visitor. Oh, nope, he's gone. He gone.
Come here.
Um, and they'll basically fake that they slipped and lay on the ground and be, oh my gosh,
Oh
and
my
they'll
gosh.
do that to sue. And there was one of those that I saw that like there was a security video in the store, and they literally saw the woman like go down the aisle, push her cart sideways, lay down on the ground, and just start like moaning
There
as if she was in
was.
pain.
I didn't tell you about this. So I had an embarrassing moment the other day, and honestly, you know I'm over it now because I'm coming to the podcast with it. Because at first I wanted to just not ever have anybody know.
Can we do an episode of most embarrassing moments?
Yeah, we could.
That would be a good one.
I can't use this one here now though,
Yeah.
but I have a
Yeah.
lot of them.
Yeah. Okay. Oh wow.
So we were looking at like, so in the apartment complex they have like you can do virtual tours. So I don't need somebody sitting there. I can just look at any apartment, not any apartment, but like any,
You could just
you
go
know.
in some other person's
You don't
apartment.
have to worry. You don't have to worry about like having somebody. It's self-guided tours.
Okay.
So we've been wanting to just see what the big like 2-story, 3 bedrooms look like. So
They have
we're
2-story apartments there.
with 3 bedrooms. It's
Oh
so
wow.
pretty, and
Wow.
we've been wanting to see what they look like. So we went on the app and we scheduled a tour of it. And it was the other day when it was like really rainy outside the whole day, so everything was wet. And when you go into it, you walk up the stairs, and you walk up this one flight of stairs, and then the door is right here. Like your front door is right here. And you
Mhm.
only have, it's basically stairs that go just to your apartment,
Mhm.
but then you have like the up person across the way too.
Mhm.
So it's just two. Super cute and private as well. So we go up the stairs, we go inside, we look around. Then we come outside to leave. I take one step and I slipped and I went sliding down like 4 stairs, four
Wow.
steps.
Did you call one of the
And then
personal injury
no, he
attorneys?
catches me. He's like, oh man, I should have caught you sooner. He catches me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I literally, like, if he didn't stop me too, I probably would have went sliding down the entire flight of steps like a cartoon character. It was
like
so
like a
embarrassing.
card like something from Home Alone.
Yeah, like it's one thing to just like slip and like fall on my butt on the steps. It's another thing to like literally go sliding and not be able to stop
Yeah.
myself.
Also, there's that moment of fear, like this might be it. This could
Yeah.
this could be it.
Yeah, and then I'm getting up trying to act like I'm not like hurt.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's like, "Wow, you know what? We could actually sue." I said, "You know what?
yeah.
We could, but I'm not one of those kind of people. Like I'm not
Right.
injured. I'm fine. Like I can still go to work tomorrow. You know, I'm young, whatever."
Yeah.
But there are some people that would look at that opportunity and be like, I'm going to sue them because I slipped. I slid down these stairs. So I have embarrassment. I'm going to call off work tomorrow over it. Like,
Right.
they don't know how far I slipped down the steps.
That's right.
If the person has a doorbell camera, they're going to see me slip and fall. So
The-
embarrassing. Oh my gosh, it was so
I
embarrassing.
mean, and that,
Sliding down steps, it's so embarrassing as a grown
but
up.
that's a perfect example, though. I think like that's a circumstance where there are people that would.
There was no watch your
There are
step
definitely people who would.
thing, like
Yeah,
nothing.
and if it was wet there, and somebody should have like done something about, should they have a different surface there, that kind of thing. I mean, that's where a lot of that comes from.
Nothing, not no, no step at your own risk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but um, one thing I was thinking about that's like a little bit different, and I don't know if this has changed or if it's just that, because it used to be when I first started working,
Yeah.
if you, like under certain circumstances, if you took a day off of work, they would
Oh
want
yeah.
like a doctor's note, you
Yeah,
know.
that's a good one.
Um, and I don't know anywhere that I work now that like has asked that. Other than if you're out a while, they might want a note saying that it's okay for you to return to, for liability purposes. But I feel like
Yeah.
if they don't anymore, I wonder if that's part of HIPAA, maybe.
I had a job where it was if you were gone, if you were out like I think it was like 2 or more days or just more than 2 days, something like that, then you need a doctor's note because you're using like if you're using sick time for like 2 or more days. But now, you know what I've noticed about that though is that a lot of places aren't doing just straight sick days anymore.
True, that's
They're
true.
just doing like time off. So
Yeah,
instead of in the past, I've had jobs where it's like you get 5 sick days and
yeah,
2 weeks of PTO and
yeah,
like this many of these kind of days. Now I feel like they just wrap it all into one. Like you have 3 weeks of PTO.
yeah. Some I've worked places that did that. Where I am now, that we get sick days that are separate from, and so some places it has to do too with what you can carry over and
Mhm.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that's why they break it up, because some of those days you're not allowed to carry over, and some, you are.
Like I don't know if Brandon has sick time, but I know that like with him, he has just unlimited PTO. But the thing he like we were talking about it the other day cuz a lot of times with PTO, so I've had two experiences of this is you will get a payout. Like if you no longer are going to work for that company, you get paid out for your PTO.
Right.
But so my first office job when I left there to go to a new job, I got paid out for my PTO and I had a decent amount left. And like I got a pretty good almost a whole paycheck really
Mm-hmm.
of PTO. And then with one of my more recent jobs, they literally I had PTO because I don't think I ever used I don't feel like I was there super super long during a time that I would have even needed to use my PTO, so
Right.
I never used it. I had I think like only a week or something. But I when I left there to come to my current job, I was like, "Man, I wonder if I'm going to get extra money for my PTO I didn't use." And before I asked, I went to the manual and it said they do not pay out PTO unless you live in a state that requires it. Because there's and I've looked up like is Florida one of those states, but there's only like literally a handful of states in the
Yeah.
United States
Probably.
that
I'm guessing California,
I think like
New
Ohio was
York.
one of
Oh,
them.
Ohio. That's surprising.
Like very few
Yeah.
states that actually require that you
Yeah, that's
um,
interesting.
do it. Otherwise, it's at the company's discretion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. But that's the whole thing. I hear someone. That's the whole thing with the unlimited PTO is they don't they don't pay it out,
They
because
don't
how do
have
you
to
pay?
pay you out.
But
Yeah.
here's my
And are you really
and
going to use an excessive amount of
yeah.
PTO?
Like
Probably
if I
not.
if I get a new job and they say, "Great, you've got unlimited PTO," and I'm like, "Okay, see you in August."
Because they still have to that, but there's that's like the kick of it. They still have to approve your PTO.
Sure. Yeah.
So if I say,
A
um,
C in August.
yeah, like they don't have to approve that.
Right, right. Yeah,
So
it's
that's
based
also
on
where it
yeah, it's based
benefits
on whether
them.
or not. And I mean, but I think that's a scam. In other words, I think unlimited PTO is a scam. I don't think that
It sounds better than it is,
it
I
sounds
think.
better than it is, because I think realistically, if you're somebody who's gonna abuse it and take more time than you should be, you're
Uh-huh.
going the problem there is going to be your work isn't going to be getting done, and then that's where
Right.
it's going to be that problem.
Mhm. Yeah. But That's also where, the honor system comes in
The honor system. That's right. And is
because
there one anymore?
because of no, I don't know. I feel like people are a lot less honest nowadays than they used to be. Obviously I wasn't
Is it
the age
remote
I
work?
am now back then, but just what?
Is it remote work that's making people less honest?
No, I don't think so. Because even when it comes to that conversation, we talk about it all the time.
Yep.
I think people have always been doing the same amount of work. There's just the difference of because I'm showing up into the office, you automatically think I'm doing more work than I am.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Just because
that's
I'm there.
that whole thing with government employees that they're
Oh,
making them go back
I'd be so
into the
sad.
office. Yeah.
I'd be
Well, and
so sad.
I think it's just a I think it's like a lot of things. I think it becomes political,
Mhm.
you know, because one side wants it and one side doesn't,
Yeah.
and I've worked remote since before COVID,
Right.
and it's exactly what you're saying. The guy who is working remote, but he's spending 4 hours a day, playing I don't know, playing Call of Duty,
Yeah.
like that guy wasn't working when he was in the office. He was probably on
Walking the
doing fantasy sports,
hallways.
walking the
Go. Yeah.
hallways, yeah, going for a coffee break every 10 minutes, going for a smoke break every, not every
Mhm.
10 minutes, but that person. And there's a lot of negatives to people, being in an office because I know like when I worked in an office, there are many more distractions
Mhm.
when you're working in an office with a bunch of other people than when I'm working at home and occasionally there's something going on around the house that kind of gets my attention for a little bit. There's a whole lot more
I think I
distractions.
have about the same amount of downtime now working from home than in the office. I don't think I'm any more like
I think I'm more focused at home though. I think I'm able to be more
true.
on task focused because when need be I can get myself away from anything in the house that might be
Yeah.
distraction. There's not that much,
Mhm.
and when you're in an office it's really difficult to do that,
True. True. Yeah.
because there's always that person that's coming around to talk, to everybody about their weekend and about
Mhm.
whatever, and that's good. That's how you like team building and all that. But if you're talking from a pure like productivity standpoint, it's a detriment.
Yeah, we were talking actually, we had our like engagement meetings the other day where they were talking about that actually, and they were talking about how engagement is so much different. Like our engagement results are so much different than I guess when they were all in the office a few years ago.
Hmm.
And they were saying that it's kind of an unfair scale and they need to update the scale to actual like remote work standards
Right.
because in the past your engagement would be higher because you're just assuming like oh they're coming to the office like of course they're doing their work like they're here they showed up
Right.
when in reality like I have just the same amount of downtime at home that I have when I'm in the office. The only difference is how I'm spending it. So at home, if I am like waiting for a response on something or I just finished a meeting and before I get back into my work, I might throw some laundry in real
Right.
quick
Right.
or, you know, whatever. But now when you're in the office, okay, I'm going to sit there on my phone or like pretend I'm working for a few minutes while I'm waiting
Right.
for a response or get
Right.
up and go to the bathroom or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah, I think again, the person that's going to waste time, they're wasting time if they're in the office or if they're at home. It's not. It's
Mhm.
and I also do think that not everybody is suited to work from home
True.
to remote work, but the people who are, and if the job allows it, it ought to be an option.
Mhm.
But that also does go to the honor system because people who you know aren't being honest, who are doing sitting playing Call of Duty for
There are
3
people who
hours out of their
yeah.
workday.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There are people who get work from home jobs just with the like mindset of I want to work from home because then I don't have to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's who ruins it for everyone. But
Yep. Yep. Exactly. They ruined it for everyone.
they ruined it for everyone. But I think that's the whole vibe of dishonesty anyways. It always ruins it for everyone.
That's true.
But yeah, no, I think people as a whole, I think people are much less dishonest or yeah,
Much.
much less honest now than they used to be.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. I feel like you're right.
Like I think people are more inclined to just lying and scheming and
Yeah.
all that now way more than
Yeah, and I think
before.
like some of that for me comes from all of these scams that go on. Like how many times a week do you get a text telling you that your Amazon package can't be delivered, or all those scams.
I used to know a girl.
You're over there looking at me like, wait, those are scams?
Yeah. No, but UPS said that I had the wrong address.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but well, you know what's okay, here's a good example too. And actually I kind of hate it because I know how like people are not I just know how people are sometimes. So, there's a package room at the apartment and it's like where your big packages like when I got a bed
Hmm.
delivered,
Hmm.
they deliver it to that package room. When my Nikes got delivered the other day, they went to that package room.
Hmm.
Mostly like bigger packages, like FedEx, UPS type packages. They all get delivered there. That way they're not going like unit to unit. Makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it's easier.
But it's just a package room, and all you have to do to get in that package room, really, if it gets delivered, they'll send you an email like, here's your code to get in the package room. But there's an app associated with that package room. All I have to do to get into that package room is go on the app, request a code, and it lets me in. They don't have anybody monitoring it. They don't have, like, I could walk in that package room and take whatever package I want.
Oh, wow.
And the other day when my shoes got delivered, I was like, man, I don't see the box here. And I was like, um, I was complaining about it. I was like, man, my package isn't here, blah, 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 blah. So then he goes down and he's looking. He doesn't see it. He calls well, I don't want to say the app. He calls the app, the company.
Right.
And he was like, oh, this package is supposed to be delivered here. It's not here. They end up filing this. They have to file this whole claim, like review the cameras because there's a camera in there.
Hmm.
And I was telling him, I'm like, man, they have to like figure out a better system with this because to be honest, like it's not like the outside of the box that they ship it in says Nike on it, but there were some packages in there that do say like, Fashion Nova, Forever
Right.
21, Amazon. Like
Right.
somebody could easily look at something and just take it and that's it. Like maybe not everybody would even complain to the app. They might just go to their company, the company they order from, be like, "Hey, my
Yeah.
package is in here. Give me my money back," and then that's it.
Right.
That to me, that package room, they are going by full honor system.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem like that's working.
Well, yeah, I mean, my shoes ended up being there.
Oh, okay.
The next day we looked and they were there.
Oh, so it was just.
But
Hmm.
there was a part of me that was like, man, that's true. Like anybody really could come in here and be like, oh, this kind of looks like a shoebox. Let me take it.
Right.
And then that's it. Like,
Yeah.
there go my shoes.
Yeah.
I think they should have somebody policing it. Like
Yeah. I
somebody.
mean, I'm sitting here thinking about it. And I'm like, did you ever get something delivered to like the Amazon lockers?
No.
I mean, that's those work similarly. Or I've done things too where I did
But
like.
you put a certain code
Yeah,
on
they
the
give you like
locker,
a
though.
barcode. And you
Yeah.
scan the barcode and it opens
So
your
that's a
door.
little more safe. This is
Yeah.
literally just in a big room.
Yeah.
It's like a room basically the size of your workout room
Yeah.
with shelves, and they just take when they're delivered, they just take the package, they check it in, they put it on the shelf, and like that's it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like for bigger things like, a bed, you couldn't do like a locker type situation, so you'd still have to have that. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's a tough one. There's got to be a better way they could do it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I know at certain apartments they'll have somebody like there basically. Like
Right.
they'll have a certain amount of hours that they're open,
Right.
and then they have somebody there. You tell them what you're there for, what your name is, some kind of receipt, whatever,
Right.
and then they get the package for you.
Yeah, I think that I think that makes a
not just a
lot.
big empty room. I don't know how much stealing goes on there, but
Yeah.
I mean, look at even like stealing over the years. Um, I remember that one little grocery. They I remember back in the day, they never had any kind of cameras or anything
Right.
like that. That could have been because it was just a little grocery store.
Yeah.
But now, like, you go into a Target and Target literally has like facial recognition
Yeah.
and
Well,
are
it's also
catching people stealing like left and
it's
right.
also they also lock a lot of things up. Ours isn't too bad for it, but like our Home Depot and that, if you want to buy like electrical wire,
Uh huh.
they have it in a locked case. You have to get
Really?
somebody to get it out for you because they've had a lot of theft
Uh huh.
because it's copper and copper, has value and
Crazy.
people are terrible. So,
Uh huh. So you even look at things like that in the stores
yeah.
of just alone how much that has changed, and I think unfortunately it does have to do with how expensive things have gotten over the years that people
Yeah.
I don't know are just stealing because they want it and they can't afford it, which isn't a
Yeah.
good reason to steal, but
No, it's not.
either way,
Right.
you know, these stores now have to, which is funny because oddly enough that the self checkout has also
Yeah.
become more of a
Yeah.
thing, which
Yeah.
only has promoted the stealing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You talk about that, and I think of like, BJ's Warehouse.
uh huh.
They're one of the stores, like a lot of the warehouse stores, where they check your receipt when you leave,
Oh yeah,
and like Costco, I think they'll even count
Costco,
the
Sam's
items. They do the
Club.
same thing. Yeah. Um, and we were there years ago, and it was at the time we were actually buying a TV,
Mhm.
and we're like done paying, and we're like walking out of the store, and they're checking our receipt, and while they're checking our receipt,
Uh huh.
somebody grabs a box with a TV in that was there, runs out the front door with it,
Uh huh.
throws it in the back of the car that was waiting
You
there,
saw
and
this all
and
go
drives out.
down.
Yeah, it was right in front of us,
That's
and I
so
was like,
funny. What did they do?
it's so silly
The
that you're
person at
sitting
the
here
door
checking
sitting
my
here like,
receipt. Yeah, I mean they were looking at it like we were like, what is going on?
because if I'm trying to
Yeah,
steal, I'm not going to come up there. If
yeah,
I'm trying
you're
to steal
you're not
anything
gonna give them.
substantial, at least.
Yeah, yeah,
Did
but like we use the BJ's app,
uh huh.
to pay, and it's convenient. It's much more convenient because I don't have to stand in
Oh
line
yeah,
and wait
that's
for
how
somebody to
Sam's Club
scan.
was. Love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because you scan the items as you put them in your cart, and by
Yeah.
the time you get up to
Then
the
you just
store, you
check
just
out.
check out.
Yeah, it's the
But one
best.
thing I hate with their app that's happened in the past, now I think the last couple times we went, it wasn't as bad, but they'll scan the code on your phone, the QR code, and it'll tell them to like scan 6 items or 8 items
Oh
in your
yeah.
cart, and it's like that many items. I might as well have just gone to a register because now you're doing what the person at the register
Oh
would
yeah.
have done anyway. Like so that's an honor system thing to me because
Yeah.
the assumption is there that, well, yeah, you scanned some of the items in your cart, but you didn't scan everything. And
Yeah.
what your mom always points out that's funny is they also have self checkout there. But self checkout, you get a printed receipt, and with the printed receipt, they just kind of do a once over of the items. They
Which is
look a
the
little
same
bit,
thing. I
and
could have
then
skipped just as many items.
yeah, you could still
Because they
like,
don't even
especially if you
have
have a lot
bags
of
there.
items in the cart. If you have a lot of items in your cart,
Mhm.
if you have 2 or 3 extra items that you said I'm not going to scan, then they're never gonna catch that.
Because they don't have bags, so it's not even like a
Yeah,
like Walmart
true.
situation where it's like if you put something on that
Oh yeah,
area that you didn't scan, it's
yeah,
like sensing the weight and it's freaking out, and then
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
they're
No,
assuming that most of your stuff is going to be in bags. Like
yeah,
I could scan my top items and then leave the bottom. You know,
completely.
it reminds me of. Did you see that video on Instagram? It was this guy and his TV broke, so he was about to put it out for trash, and he takes the broken TV, puts it back in the box that he purchased it in, like because we all save our TV boxes. Puts it back into the box, puts it out on his front porch because he's gonna throw it out like the next day or whatever. This guy comes up to his front porch, grabs the TV and like takes it and puts it
Oh,
in his car, and
he
he's
thought he was
like,
being a porch pirate.
yeah, and he's like, okay, thanks for saving me the trouble of throwing that TV
Yeah.
out. Like, he literally just stole a
You know
broken
what? You
TV.
know what's funny? That happened with us. We put a TV out that was broken
Uh-huh.
for garbage, and somebody took it, and I'm like, I, I mean, maybe there's some electronic components you could get out of it if you were
Like,
that
maybe, yeah.
like handy, but I
Yeah.
tend to think they took it because maybe they thought it worked. I don't know.
But that's also like a thing, is just how Porch Pirate have like, even the fact that there's even the name of Porch Pirate is so
Yeah,
funny to me.
I know. Because I do picture somebody with a patch,
Like, someone's
maybe a
clearly
peg leg.
there. The Porch Pirate situation is crazy to me because not only are you stealing, but like, you have no idea what you're even taking.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, you're really
yeah.
just it's
You're
like a
playing.
roulette of
Yeah,
stealing.
it's like a lottery. Yeah, yeah.
Aren't you going to be
Relay's
disappointed
better.
when you find out that I had
Yeah,
body wash in
yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah. That
Like,
I was just buying dinner napkins. That's all. I was
yeah.
out, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Well, the other
You're
thing to
risking
me,
it all
yeah,
for
the other
for
thing to me
what?
too with that, well, two things is so many people have like doorbell cameras, security cameras now, so
Yeah.
I don't get people doing that. The flip side of that is every time you see a doorbell camera or a security camera view and they say, "Have you seen this person?" You're like, I can't even tell that that is a person, so I don't know if I've seen that. It's always like
So
so
funny.
grainy and
Yeah.
hard to see. So
That's funny.
make the security cameras better.
Anyways,
That's the last note.
yeah, on that note, y'all, be honest.
Yeah, no more being dishonest.
This is more just like a
Yeah,
ranting episode, but still, like, yeah.
yeah.
Anyways,
All right.
catch us for game time on Thursday.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Bye.